Hello friends, welcome back to 9 Little Aussies. I'm Chrissy and today it is wet. So it is very, very wet, and I know I keep saying that, but the rain just keeps coming. And apparently we've heard from a lot of people that this is, I think, the wettest summer on record. It's very unusual for it to be this wet in summer. Usually, I mean, look at the grass. We just cannot stay on top of it. This grass is less than a week old and it is very tall. It's just crazy. There is just water laying everywhere. And as you know, like, we don't really know what's normal. I mean, we've been here less than a year on this property, and certainly last summer in Texas was a lot hotter and drier than this, but apparently this is very not normal. There's water lying everywhere. I honestly don't know how the gardens are gonna survive with just being so wet underfoot for so long. But today's focus is more about managing livestock. We have meat chickens, and we've gone from sort of extreme heat, which we were having, you know, 100+ temperature days and really, really hot and humid. And we did lose a few birds in that really big heat. And now it's just wet. And look, my okra, I just noticed my okra is getting out of control too. They're way too big. But it's just rained for days. We haven't been able to get out here. And we're supposed to still have 3 more days of rain. So we're a little bit concerned about the meat chicks. They are just very wet underfoot. We're moving them a couple of times a day. But even so, there's a couple that are looking quite unwell. And I've put them in the mudroom in a little, actually a water trough, and put hay down for them. And I'm just about to give them some magic water. So I've made some magic water, which is basically just honey. Oh, I didn't put the garlic in. Honey, apple cider vinegar and garlic, which I'll go back in and get the garlic that I cut up. I'm going to add it to their water. I think they've just gotten cold and wet, and the other birds have been pushing them out from the feed and they haven't been getting feed. So I've separated them. So we've put these 2 in here. Look how wet they are. And this one over here is starting to eat. And we have covered this one with hay to try and warm her up. But I'm going to give them magic water as well and see if that helps. We may lose this one. I don't know. We're just going to do all we can. So these 2, we'll see. I don't know, they might come good. This one's got her eyes open a bit more than this morning. They're starting to dry out in this hay. They got all the food they want. We'll see. We'll see. I've made another lot of magic water that I'm going to take and put in with the rest of the meat birds, just to kind of boost them up a little bit, given that they are, I'm pretty sure they'd be feeling pretty stressed right now. Which honestly, I can understand them feeling stressed because, oh, I think it's going to rain again. I'm going to duck out here and try and do this really quickly. We have been out here for hours. I am tired, somewhat frustrated that my day has not gone according to plan. But such is life when you're dealing with animals. All right, so I'm going to add this into the feeder, or the waterer, I should say. And I'll top it up. Tap water. Oop, what's going on here? Going all sideways. Okay. The lid on. bits of garlic come out there, but that's okay. So what we've done is put a fence up around the meat chicks. I'll show you what we've done. So the problem was, with all of this rain, we've got these meat chickens in a Joel Salatin style chicken tractor. But with all this rain, it's just not draining, like, at all. It wasn't draining at all, and they were sitting in mud all the time because the water table is so high, so much rain. So what we decided to do is bring them in here under this tree for a little bit of shelter. Jack the chook pen, the tractor, up on some wood and tires and stuff so they can get underneath, but they can also get out into this fenced area. I just don't even know if the boys have this turned on. So now I'm like, Oh, now I'm gonna get, so you can see they can get all around, they can get out, they can go under the trees, they can get more space so they're not stuck in a wet spot under there. And the rain's coming down again, so I'm gonna go back inside. It just keeps raining. So anyway, we'll see. Got those two meat birds in there. We'll see whether or not they rally and make it through. One of them is definitely looking a bit better than the other one. And hopefully, because it is supposed to rain for 3 more days. And I was really worried about those meat birds just sitting out there like in the muddy mess. I'm just hoping. We don't have anywhere indoors we can put them. We thought about putting them in the milk barn, but I don't know that we can predator proof that very easily. I'm getting tripped on. So that was our attempt at providing something that they still can get out of the wind and rain, but they can move around a bit more and have more, they can have more space to kind of move so that they're not kind of sitting in dampness. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. And I thought I'd show you this while we're out having a look. We have a little, little black hen, little Australorp hen, sitting on 7 eggs. And she has been trying to go clucky, and we kept getting her off. And then we learned, now I grew up around chooks and I did not know this. But apparently, if you have a clucky hen and you let her sit in the pen with everyone else, it'll just make them all go off the lay. Now, I guess if I think about it, if we had a clucky hen growing up, Mum and Dad would always either let her go off under a tree somewhere and just sit, or we'd put her in a box until she got over her cluckiness. But and maybe they knew, maybe Mum and Dad knew that, but I didn't know the reasoning behind it was so that the rest of the chickens don't go off the lay. Anyway, so we decided to let her sit because we have roosters in there. The eggs should be fertilized. So we'll let her sit and see if we can get some little chickies. It is funny how in this weather, some things love it and are thriving, and some things very clearly do not love it. It's terrible for my tomatoes, which weren't doing great anyway, I've got to say. The ginger is loving it. The ginger is growing really well, loving the humidity and the heat and the wet, being a rainforest plant. My asparagus is kind of yellowing, but it's all growing, so that's kind of cool. The elderberries here in these pots are doing really well. So, and a lot of it I don't even know because it's been so wet I haven't been able to get out and have a really good look. So everything is just muddy, sloshy, kind of in that management mode. We made a bit of a boo-boo with the worms, and I'm just hoping. We accidentally left, actually I'll show you. So when it rains, we really have to leave. So this one has this little worm farm has a hole drilled under here, and it will, when it rains or when I water it, it will leak out into the bucket, and then I use that on the gardens. This new bigger one that my husband built has a tap, which in some ways is really great because it gives you more control, but you've got to remember when it rains to open it. Otherwise, you can flood and drown all your worms if they've got nowhere to go. And we did forget that it was turned off. So we've turned it, this was a few days ago now, not in this rain, in the last rain this happened, and I'm gonna have to run for it again. Anyway, we got it turned on, we got it draining, and we can see some little wormies, but haven't had a really good look because of how wet it's been to know, you know, how many we lost. We did get a proper gutter put in along here. We got guttering put in. You can see a downpipe there and another one further along. So that's really good as far as managing the water and the coming off the roof, but it still must be overflowing, the gutters anyway. And we haven't finished that. We've got to put drainage for the overflow. Hey, you guys. Of course, these guys love the rain, don't you? You don't mind it at all. It's so pretty. The layers are doing all right. They're on deep bedding, so there's probably about a foot, I don't know, less in places, especially over on the sides, of wood chips, keeping them dry-ish, you know, as dry as you can be in this weather. And they got their little coop they can go in, the chicken tractor. But now this guy here, Oscar the grouch, I think he might have to go in a pot because he has been a bit of a naughty rooster, and he has now gone after a couple of visitors as well as our kids. He's just trying to be protective, but he's not, yeah, he's getting a bit too aggressive, so I think he may end up chicken soup. Anyway, that's about it from us today. Just a short one, little update on our soggy little corner of East Texas. Look at all the water sitting there, so wet. But thanks for coming along for the ride as we navigate our way through this new land and all of its changing seasons and figuring it all out as we go. It's good to have you here. Sunshine and raindrops. Until next time.